Hi there, everyone. I'm Gary Mack. This is Anna Mark. Welcome to another exciting episode of SciEngiMathePloration. Today's show is all about water. We're going to take a look at water in a lot of different areas in our society and how we use water, the hydrological cycle, the water ecology, and even where water ends up. But today, we're at the Red Oaks Water Park where we're going to have fun with water. And Anna's in charge of fun. Are you ready for fun?
I'm always ready for fun.
All right, everybody, let's go. Water. Water, water everywhere, but not a drop to drink.
Hi, we're here at Red Oaks Water Park in Oakland County with Splashtown, and I'm here with Mr. Matt, who's going to tell us a little bit about what you can do here at Red Oaks. So what can you do here?
Well, hi. Welcome to Red Oaks Water Park. There's a lot of fun features and activities here for the public. As you see behind me, there's our wave pool, and it's zero depth entrance all the way up to 8 feet deep. We have our waves on every 10 minutes and off for 10 minutes. Behind the wave pool, as you can probably see, is our triple turns slides, and there are 3 large water slides for everyone to go down. And further back in the park, as we'll show you later, is our Splashtown, which features a lazy river and a kiddie feature splash deck for the children to play on.
Wow, there's a ton to do here. What's your personal favorite ride?
My favorite probably have to be the slides. They're a lot of fun to get on there and go racing down them. But they're all great features. You know, the wave pool is great for playing in the waves, maybe doing some body surfing. The lazy river is great for relaxing and going around that. And then, of course, the children have the kiddie feature.
A ton of fun in the water here today, so let's get going. All right, so now we're in the main control room of the park, is that correct?
Yep, this is the control room where all the power comes in for the wave pool and for the slides.
All right, very cool. So do you personally control this yourself, or is it all automatic?
Parts of it are automatic. We have to turn it on every morning and turn everything off in the evening to shut down the waves and start them up in the morning.
Very cool. So I see all these knobs all around. What do you do with those?
Well, there's a number of them. There's a series of knobs over there that run the power for the slides, and we'll show you in a little bit. I'll show you the generators that pump all the water up to our slides. Behind me, you'll see this box here. This is actually the power for the wave pool, and we turn that on, and it actually will turn on the generators, and we can go turn on all the pumps and everything to run the waves.
So you said that the wave pool goes every 10 minutes, right?
Yep, the waves are on for 10 minutes, and they're off for 10 minutes.
Okay, so that goes automatically, too. You don't have to go every 10 minutes, oh, it's time to turn the waves on.
Once it's on and fired up, they'll run itself, and they'll be on for 10 minutes and off for 10 minutes. Unless we were to have a save in our pool, and then we'd have to cut the waves, and then we just have to key them back up outside to start them up again.
Okay. All right. Very cool. In this secret magical room behind us is another generator, right?
Yeah, and the door behind us are all the generators that power the waves, and they're all actually pneumatic also, and they push air down into the water, which moves the door that creates the waves. So there's several generators throughout that room to create all the different waves and to keep the water moving.
So the waves are just created by actually pushing air to make the waves move?
Yeah, well, it's pushing air down, and it pushes a door back and forth under the water, and that creates the waves.
Okay. So can you tell me what these big devices are behind us?
Yeah, behind us you'll see the filters for our wave pool. They're sand filters, and they're what we use to clean all the water out and filter the water.
All right, so does the sand get in the wave pool and then you need to filter it out? Or?
No, it's a process of going through different levels of filtration to get all the particles out of it. Once it goes through it all, then the water comes out clean without any particles in it.
All right, so a little less like the recreation of the park. This is more like the sewage part, is the backwash filter.
Yeah, exactly. Behind us you'll see the the part where we backwash our filters, and it goes into this tank where it's drained and goes into the sewage plants to be treated. Oakland County Parks takes great pride in keeping our water clean and keeping it clear, so on a regular basis we backwash all of our filters to get all the particles out of the filters that have been trapped, and that way they're keeping the filters clean and it's filtering well. So there's a lot that goes into running a water park than just having the water moving and keeping people happy. It's also all the maintenance, all the behind the scenes of keeping the water clean and keeping the chemicals up and cleaning out the filters so that we can filter our water at the highest efficiency and are able to keep our water as clean as possible.
Wow. So we're in the room right now that controls the generators that powers the lazy river?
Yeah, in here we have the power for the lazy river, so we can turn that on, and we also have the generator that creates the waves in the lazy river. In a minute we'll show you over in our kiddie feature where there's actually a current, and those generators are over in our kiddie feature, but in here is where the waves are actually created for the lazy river.
Wow, very cool. So you can start these all up and those will go automatically?
Yeah, once we start them on up, they just run all day, and there's small waves. They're not as big of waves as in the wave pool, but they just run all day and create a small wave sensation throughout the lazy river.
So the generators use a pushing force that powers the waves and the current?
Yeah, it's a pneumatic system, and it pushes air through pipes that pushes the water to create the waves in the lazy river.
Wow, very cool. So these beautiful color-coded machines behind us are the generators for the slides, right?
Yeah, these actually, we showed you in that other room, they have the knobs to turn on the power for the slides, and then once the power is turned on, these actually start pumping the water up to the slides, and there's a valve on them that we open up, and then all the water goes up the slides, and that's how we turn on the slides.
So the slides go pretty high up. Are there like pipes behind that take it all the way up?
Yeah, there's pipes that go up to the top of the slides. It's about 40 feet off the ground from the bottom all the way up to the top of the slides.
Cool. So each of these have their own specific color so that they match each slide?
Yep. We have one of the generators for each of the different slides that we have.
Very cool. So this is now the mechanical room for the splash town for the kiddie park that we just saw, right?
Yeah, in this room all the power's controlled for the kiddie feature, and it's also the current for the river. And then down below us is all the large filters and also the generators that generate the current in the river and pump all the water out to the kiddie feature.
So all the pipes that I see down there, are they filled with air?
Nope, those are all actually filled with water. And that's what pushes all the water and gets the current in the river. So that's all water down there. Bringing in water and filtering it and then pushing it back out to create the current and create the splash features in the bucket and all that.
All right, very interesting. All right, this looks like way too much fun.
It is. It's a great time. Behind me you'll see our kiddie feature. It's our kiddie activity area. And children are allowed to come back here and play on the structures, climb around, play with all the different water features, turn water on and off, and use our slides as well.
Wow, it's like a giant playground except with water, right?
Yeah, exactly, and the kids love it. There's about 40,000 gallons of water moving through here and spraying out, and then up in there we've got our bucket that I'll dump on a periodic basis and spray all the kids, and they have a great time with it.
It's sad that it's only for little kids. Would I be okay going in there?
No, unfortunately you're a bit too tall. You have to be under 44 inches to come back here and use the feature.
All right, well, a lot of water spraying all over the place, and the turns, I see these like wheels. The kids can actually turn those and control everything?
Yeah, actually all the red wheels on there control a different part of the feature. So if the children want to come in here and open up the valve on the wheel, they can spray out water, and then they can close the valve and turn off the water. There's also parts, there's ropes that they can pull on and it'll spray water down. as well as using the slides. And there's squirt guns out there where they push the squirt gun. It'll spray out water onto people.
Wow. So what else can you do here? You can slide down and do everything?
Yeah, you can use this for all the kids. See, there goes our bucket right now. And that's one of our big attractions is kids will wait for that to tip and they'll sit under there and they'll get splashed with all the water as it comes down.
That is a lot of fun. All right, enough of this technical stuff. I think it's time to have some fun now. Thank you, Matt, for taking us around and showing us all the behind-the-scenes features. We really learned that it's more than just a water park, more than just slides with water, running down this. Yeah,
well, thank you, Anna. It was a pleasure bringing you and your viewers to see our water park and not only show you all the things on the outside that we do here, but also the behind-the-scenes stuff and show you how a water park really works.
Yeah. There's a lot that goes on here. So come on down to Red Oaks Water Park in Madison Heights, Michigan. It's the place to be. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you. You have
a great time. Bye.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our continuing exploration of water and all the science and engineering that goes behind water. We have a very special opportunity today. We're touring the Detroit Water and Sewage Department Waterworks plant. I'm here with Ron Hayes, who's the plant manager. Mr. Hayes, thank you for having us.
It's good to have you out this morning.
Good. Now, I understand that this facility is a key part of the infrastructure of our region and one of the oldest facilities like this in the nation. Is that true?
That's true. It's one of 5 water treatment plants in the area. We have 5 water treatment plants in Waterworks Park. Primarily is concerned with the east side of Detroit and downtown Detroit.
Okay, and this facility has been around, I read on your website, since before the last century even, and pumps about 200 million gallons a year here. Is that correct?
Actually, 240 million gallons. This plant site has actually been here in the late 1800s, so we've been involved with pumping water over 100 years at this particular site.
Right, and obviously it's not just as easy as pumping the water. You have to treat it and filter it and then push it out. It serves 123 communities, I think, the Detroit Water Group. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Right, now I understand. What kind of folks would work here in terms of scientists and engineers? I recognize some of these would probably be chemical engineers, perhaps?
Well, we have chemists, we have operators who are trained to be operators to go through an apprenticeship program. We have folks here that actually keep up the plant. We have instrument techs, electricians, mechanical maintenance. So it's a whole concerted effort to make sure that we're not only pumping water, but we're able to do the maintenance to maintain this treatment plant so that we can continue to put this water out.
But the water somehow flows from here all the way out to when I'm watering my tomato plants. It started here.
That's correct.
All right, good. Well, it's good water, too, because I grow good tomatoes. Let's take a look at what happens on the tour.
Hi, we're here with Mr. Willis Sneed, who's going to take us on a little tour of the plant. Is that correct?
That's right.
All right, and what is your job here at the plant?
I'm actually a water plant operator apprentice.
So you're learning the ropes, learning what to do?
Yes, as much as I can.
All right, so one day this will be your job?
I'm looking forward to it, yes.
All right, so where do we start on this tour?
We actually start in the back at our low lift pumps. Actually, there's some screens back there where the process comes off the intake, and that's the start of our whole process and how we treat water.
Okay, so we go in the back to move forward?
Exactly.
All right, well, let's get started.
All right.
All right, so here we are at the beginning of the plant. This is the start. So tell us a little bit about what goes on behind us.
Well, actually, this is the start of the whole process. Outside along the river, we have an intake. Our intake brings the water in, and we have these screens right here. That actually gets off the bigger, harder materials out of the water, and then these low-lift pumps bring the water up to level and allows our water to flow through gravity throughout the process.
And then it brings it all the way up, so the rest of the process is just led by gravity?
Yep.
All right, so is this where it pumps it all up? It doesn't do any of the cleaning here, or does it do?
No, the only cleaning that's partially done is the filters, because it is extracting some of the bigger matter from the water. But besides that, this is just only lifting it up and taking it out and I mean lifting it up high and then bringing it down through gravity. There is a little chlorine that's added in this area as well. It's called pre-chlor. That way we're kind of pre-treating it along the way because we add chlorine 2 times throughout the process.
Okay. So is this all run mechanically? Do you have to do any of the processes? Or?
Well, it's pretty much standard mechanical operation. Sometimes we have to go put a pump in service, take a pump out, but it depends on what's needed.
All right. Well, let's continue on.
Thank you.
So Willis, what happens behind these windows?
Now, well, actually right here, these are our bulk tanks for our coagulant polymer. That's one of the chemicals that we use to make small matter into large matter. It's easier for us to take it out of the water in bigger clumps. So this is just one of the bulk tank storage areas for that chemical. We actually have them in a lot of areas around the plant for the different chemicals we use, but this is just for the coagulant polymer downstairs.
So you put this into the water at this point?
Yeah, actually we put it in right before the flocculation and sedimentation portion.
Okay. All right. Now, I've never even heard of the word flocculation before. Can you kind of give us a definition of it?
Well, flocculation comes from the floc particles that we make. What we do is in our flocculation basin, we add coagulant, which is alum, aluminum sulfate. We add alum to the water. It helps mix into the water and make those small particles clump into bigger ones, which those bigger particles are floc particles. Hence the name flocculation.
Okay, so that's what's happening right here?
Yep, we have actually 15 flocculators, which are actually fans. In some plants we use paddles, but they're fans. They turn in different cycles, some faster than the other, to mix the water and the chemical the best way. That way we get the best floc particles and the cleanest water possible.
So when you spin it all up, the particles get bigger and get trapped in the...
Yep, as the chemical mixes in, yep, they clump together, and then that's when they settle over into the sedimentation basin right over here to make sure that those floc particles that get heavy get a chance to settle to the bottom. At the bottom, we have collectors. These collectors drag all that sludge away into the little pit, and that waste, we use it, of course, we process that a whole different way.
Wow. All right, let's keep going. So tell us a little bit about the filters that are in this plant.
Well, these filters filter like several million gallons a day. They actually help to control particle count, turbidity. Turbidity is actually the cloudiness that's inside your water. There are certain areas and certain other particles that cause that, but to get rid of those the particle count and the turbidity, we use the filters. But we add fluoride to the water that helps with tooth healthiness in the teeth, and it prevents tooth decay.
So the filters are just located sporadically around the plant, or do they have...
They're actually one area. This area here is just a filter gallery, just in this area.
Okay. All right, well, let's keep going. So now we're with the chemist of the plant, right?
Yeah, this is actually one of our junior chemists here, Nagna. She does all the sampling. She does our tests for chlorine, residual chlorine, hardness, alkalinity, and everything, and I can let her tell you about that.
All right.
Yeah. We do the testing here 24 hours, and we start chlorine every hour and turbidity every 4 hours, and then we do the coliform microbiology test also once every shift.
Well, thank you very much. So next on the tour is the control room. What happens in here?
Exactly what it is, control. We control everything in this plant. We monitor everything in this plant, and we also get red alarms. Basically, if something isn't right, the slightest little bit, we're able to catch it right in this control room. This is basically the brain of this plant to make sure we always deliver pleasant water to the people.
Well, let's head on in.
All right.
So now we're in the control room with Mr. Mike Heidi. And what is your role here?
Hi, I'm the senior chemist, and actually we're doing the operations of the water plant. We're monitoring the flow and the quality of the water as it comes from the Detroit River through Belle Isle over to the plant here on Waterworks Park. And we're also monitoring, as you can see in the background here, the quality of the water, the different chemical constituents that we're putting in the water, the chlorine, the disinfection of the water, and the fluoride and the phosphoric acid that we're adding to the water for control of corrosion.
Wow. So if the water isn't up to par, what do you do to correct that?
Well, we have certain parameters that we monitor, and it's we control the dosage of the disinfectant and the fluoride and the phosphoric acid as well.
Oh, well, thank you for all of your help here.
Hey, here's another thing you can do with water. You can race on it, only if you have a boat. We're at the 100th running of the hydroplane races in downtown Detroit. We're about to go into the racing pits and see the racing boats in action. Here we go. This is one of the older style boats that's being lifted out of the water and into its cradle so the crew can make some adjustments to it. You notice that the front end of this boat is much different than the more modern hydroplanes, which have a recessed bow. This particular boat is also driven by a piston engine, an Allison V12 engine, as opposed to the jet engines that are used in the more modern hydroplane design. The U-17 is here at the boat races, demonstrating the older technologies that got the sport started more than 100 years ago. Hey, we're inside the pits, and they've just removed this jet engine from one of the boats. They're going to replace it with another one of the engines, but you can see this isn't the engine that's in your car. And of course, these boats go over 150 miles an hour on the water. This hydroplane boat here is sponsored in part by the United States Navy. It takes a lot of engineering, a lot of science, and effectively you're a pilot when you're driving one of these boats. The early days of hydroplane racing, the boats were powered by piston engines. This is an example of one of the 12-cylinder piston-powered engines that powered some of the early boats. One of the differences with the older style boat is that the driver sits behind the engine in an open cockpit, open to the elements. On the more modern hydroplanes, the driver sits in an enclosed cockpit, much like a jet engine, and the cockpit is located in front of the engine that drives the boat. How are you?
Hey, Gary.
What are you doing?
I'm just doing some experimenting on water and how surface tension works.
Surface tension. I've heard of that. What is surface tension?
Surface tension is basically the habit that molecules have to kind of stick together, act like a skin, and hold things in.
Wow. And this is something that happens in, like, with water, like in a bucket like this?
In a bucket like this, or even like you see on a pool sometimes, bugs are floating on top. It
Yeah,
looks
I've
like
seen
they're,
that.
Yeah, so that all has to do with surface tension.
The bugs are using the surface tension to walk on the surface of the water.
Exactly.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, can you demonstrate surface
I
tension for
can.
us?
Right here, I just have a plain window screen that has small little squares in it.
Right, you've cut out a round piece of screen.
Yep.
Okay.
Match it to fit the top of a normal canning jar.
Okay, that's a canning jar like your mom might use to make pickles or strawberries
Exactly.
or whatever you can.
Exactly.
Okay, and you're going to
You
screw
can
that on the...
screw the top back on.
Okay,
You're going to pour the water right in through the screen.
sure, right.
Fill it all the way up to the top.
Okay. Now what happens when it's full?
When it's full,
Yeah?
are you ready?
What are you doing?
I'm going to flip it over.
Flip it over, the
And
water will come
The
out.
water will stay in there.
The water will stay in the jar.
The water is going to stay in the jar.
I got to see this to
Are you
believe
ready?
it. Yeah, I'm ready. Oh, it is. How come the water is not coming out through the screen?
It's all because of the surface tension. The little squares in the screen each
Yeah.
have their own little surface tension that are keeping the water inside.
Oh, I see. So all of them together are holding the water
Yep.
inside. You could pour it through the screen, but it's not coming back out.
Right. If you tap it, it'll break the tension. It'll pour out a little bit,
The water comes out after that. I see.
and then it'll all come out.
Well, that's pretty neat.
So yeah, do you want to see another one?
Yeah, you got another experiment for
Yeah.
us? Okay, what's this one?
All right, this one has to do with surface tension as well.
Okay,
You just can have a normal paper towel.
paper towel.
You're going to cut out a small piece,
All right.
and what I'm going to do is actually float a needle on the water.
You're going to make a needle float on top of the water.
I'm going to make a needle.
But wait a minute, isn't a needle made out of metal?
That is true, Gary.
And metal is heavier than water, so metal would sink in water, wouldn't it?
Right. But this has to do with surface tension.
Surface tension again.
Right.
All right, I got to see this.
All right. So here's the needle. Here's the paper towel.
Right?
Paper towel.
Paper towel,
Needle.
needle.
The paper towel will float away, and the needle is going to stay on top.
That is amazing.
I know, right?
Look at that. The needle is actually floating on
Yeah.
the surface of the water.
Really incredible.
Unbelievable. Hey, I know an experiment with water, too. You want to see it?
Yeah, I do want to
All right,
see
I
it.
got to get some. Stay
All
right
right.
there. All right, here's one that I'm going to show you now. I have a piece of PVC pipe, and I put a cap on this end of it.
Okay.
And I've drilled a series of holes in here about 1 foot apart on this. And this is a demonstration in water pressure, how water has weight and causes pressure on it. When we were at the water plant earlier today, we saw how they use gravity to move water along.
Right.
Well, this is a similar explanation. Let me do it back here by the pool, because this does cause the water all the way. Now, before I do this, let me ask you, as I fill this up and the water comes out of here, do you think you're going to notice anything about the different holes?
I don't know. I feel like maybe they would all come out the same, but the
Well,
pressure might.
Let's see what happens. That's a good guess. Let's see what water pressure does here. See, what happens is the pressure is actually greater at the bottom of the
Oh,
holes because
wow.
of all the water on top of it. And each succeeding hole shoots the water a little less far. Here, we can even do this to get it full, all the way
Oh,
full.
wow.
You see, there is quite a bit of pressure. It's really sending out a stream a long
Wow.
ways. And the bottom one always goes farther than the ones above it.
Yeah.
Water pressure, what do you think?
Very cool.
Same way it works in your house.
You want to jump in there, Kula?
Okay, great. Well, thanks for joining us. That's our show on water. What did you learn about water today?
I learned so much. I hope everyone learned a lot.
Save water in your home, too. Bye-bye.